evening, everyone. AstroNormy here. Tonight will hopefully be the final night of what has become my largest, most data-intensive, image-intensive, night-intensive project to date. We had some clouds earlier in the evening. I'm having to go through a autofocus regimen right now. It focused wrong. All the images I've taken up until now, since the sky cleared, whenever that happened, have been bunk. So we're doing an autofocus regime right now so I can set it back on its setup. Thus far, this has been my biggest, most complex project to date. Either way, this is going to be my final night of imaging Andromeda for at least the foreseeable future. What I normally try to do is image Andromeda at least once a year. It's an easy target. I like imaging Andromeda. It's a perfect target. And I, just like with Orion, it's just one of those things where I like to image. It makes me feel like I'm better than I am because it's such an easy target to image. And there we go. So yeah, it makes me feel like I'm better than I am. That and then Orion are literally the two easiest targets in the night sky really to image. They're easy to find, they're easy to image. You can get a lot out of a little bit of data. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. But what I've wanted to do is I really haven't had a image of Andromeda that I've been really happy with. Every image I've had something wrong with it that I felt like I could do better with. And that's what we're doing tonight. Every year I've gotten a little bit better processing wise. Every year I've gotten a little bit more skill, hopefully. And so that's what we're doing. We're going to try to see what I can do. I've got over 14 days of actual nights imaging, if my count is correct, or right at 14 days. Certainly if you count the nights where clouds ruin the whole night. I decided to do a test stack, and what I normally do with projects of much lower size especially is while I'm doing other things, or especially if I'm leaving the house for whatever, I'll just put the images onto my Mac, and that's where I edit my video typically. And instead of running them on my Windows PC, especially if I'm not going to be at the house for very long, or for a good long while, I'll put them on Mac, run the stacking, the weighted batch processing on PixInsight on my Mac. It takes longer, but it's way more power efficient. I don't need it to go super fast. And so that's what I was doing. I was working from home that day. And so I knew I was going to be working from home. I was going to be on my Windows PC and on my Windows tablet that's for work. And so I just put it on the Mac running in the background, and figuring it would take 8 hours, 6 hours. And I knew I was in for something different whenever it said the total file size for all the batch processing was going to be just a couple hundred megabytes shy of 500 gigabytes. I was like, well, this is by far the biggest project I've done, but it'll probably take 6-8 hours. I don't know. We'll see. It took over 12 hours. It was 12 hours, 10 minutes. I've got a screenshot of it. I'll put it up on here. It took over 12 hours to run the full stacking. Now, PixInsight is slow anyway, but I didn't expect it to take 12 hours. So I did the stacking. The images come out. Everything looked like it was all right. I didn't add too many issues that I couldn't correct for. So hopefully, if this night cooperates at least for a couple hours, yeah, we are in focus. So there we are. Looking good. Looks like we're good to go. Of course, this is no filter. And so that's where we stand. At last count, I had right under, I think it was 589 or 590 3-minute exposures, and 181 5-minute exposures, but that were with my Optilong L-Enhance, basically to try to get nebulosity out. And just looking at those quicks, those two different stacks with the two different filter and no filter, I could see some pretty little nebulosity pop out all over the Andromeda galaxy that we could see. So hopefully I can take some of that nebulosity, some of that hydrogen data, and pop it into my full color image and kind of highlight some of those nebula that are over there. And we'll see how it works. Just like my last project, my last video was first video of the season. It was over 33, just over 33 hours of total exposure time for a mosaic of Cygnus loop. That was my biggest project to date, and here we are now. The very next image I'm putting out, I'm upping that by perhaps up to 20 hours if I get very, very lucky in total exposure time. And certainly there's people out there that are going to say that's a complete waste of time. You don't need that much time. Andromeda's bright, Andromeda's big enough, yada yada yada. You're very much way far past the point of diminishing returns, and I know that. I get it. But I wanted to throw everything I've got right at this point at Andromeda, and I wanted to see what I could do, and that's what we're going to do. So since I've been standing here talking, I've got the auto targeting finished, and I've got one we got the second one loading right now. Hopefully I'll get enough to make it worth my time to come out here and do this and finish up. So anyway, that's where we stand. So let's play around a little bit more with see how the clouds are going to mess with us, and we'll go from there. Well, I can hear the train coming. It's not coming around the bend, but I can hear it coming before I can hear diesel running. So it won't be long before it's going to get loud anyway. So if I get some more exposure time, great. If not, then I do have just over 48 hours exposure time. So I may have to let it go for another day. Either way, thank you for watching AstroNormy, and I hope you enjoy the image.